welcome in the latest episode of Off the Carousel, and we bring in new Iowa head coach Ben McCollum. And Ben, 1 year at Drake. I will say I didn't expect it to only be 1 year before you got back home to Iowa City, where you were born and grew up a few hours away. What was this ride like for you? I mean, you're a D2 head coach that everybody wanted, or a lot of people wanted for a while. You finally take the job at Drake, which was one that you kind of identified as, good enough for you to make the move where you could win. But let's face it, like nobody thought you could win at the level you did last year, probably yourself included.
Yeah, no, when we took over the job, our objective was literally just to build the culture so that we could win in the future. And we had no idea that we were going to be as good as we were. I think obviously we didn't think that we'd just come in and lose though either. So, we don't really put a lot of expectation on where we think we're going to finish or how many games we think we're going to win. I think we went out to Charleston then and obviously won. And at that point you're just like, oh man, am I going to have to move again? Cause you don't necessarily want to. Like, I just moved into my house in October in Des Moines, and it's like, man, I set up shop. We're gonna have, we built a house essentially, and then built our roster, and hopefully we could be there for a lot of years. But now 9 months later, you're here, so it is what it is. We're excited about this opportunity.
Is it a dream in a sense for you? Because again, your mom went to school there. You were born there. You didn't grow up there, but you grew up 4 hours away. I don't know if you were a Hawkeye fan growing up. What was the background? And is it kind of a dream and almost like a pinch me type deal to be the head coach at Iowa?
Yeah, you don't think about it a ton. I think the time. So I grew up. I was born in Iowa City. Lived here till I was, I think, maybe 5 or 6, and then we moved to Storm Lake, Iowa, which is northwest corner. So I was a Hawkeye fan growing up. I mean, I wore number 10 for one of their best point guards ever. This might be a good quiz for you, Jeff. Do you know who I would wear number 10 for? Guy by the name of BJ Armstrong.
Oh, that was a good one. Hey.
Yeah, decent little player. So this is our pro team in the state of Iowa. So, the time that it was probably the most was I was doing an interview, and to start the interview, the Iowa fight song came on, and I'm like, holy cow, that fight song's for me. That's probably the one time that it was like, wow, that's wild. I used to listen to this as a kid and sing the songs and do all that stuff. And so no, it's
parents. You think even more so, like for your parents, this must be like a moment, right? And when they go to that first game when you're coaching, I don't know who it'll be, November 3rd, but when they go to that game, I'm sure you're going to have some nerves and look out there and be like, oh my God, I can't believe this. But for your parents, I assume even more so.
Yeah, no, I think for my mom, she obviously went here. And so, I think, and then my brother's a diehard Hawkeye fan. So, I think even the press conference itself was like, wow, we're really doing this thing. So, I probably don't get overly enamored with that stuff. That's always been my nature. Even, playing in the NCAA tournament was really cool. But I think too often people get excited to be there and they forget that, that's not really the work. The work is, now that you've got the job, what are you going to do with it? And so that's what we're trying to do, is make sure that we can do something with this.
All right. So I got a couple things for you. All right. I'm going to humble you here a little bit. All right. I'm going to humble you. After all your success as a head coach at Northwest Missouri State, I look back and I'm like, this was like a Coach K type thing, wasn't it? Coach K kind of struggled out of the gates at Duke, and they might have whacked him these days. 2 years in, I'm looking at it, 22-31. And then you end up winning 4 national titles, going to, Sweet 16s every year. So what are you thinking? Tell me what you're thinking after 2 years as a head coach at Northwest Missouri State.
Oh, I was thinking I was getting fired. I mean, I think we had lost Man, I don't know for sure. It's probably 9, 10 in a row. And I remember calling my mom at the time and telling her I'm done. And then we finished that season 6-3, and it kind of had some of the same players. The next year, we recruited 2 or 3 transfers on top of it, and ended up winning the league the next year with essentially the exact same team with an influx of maybe 1 or 2 or 3 transfers. And man, if I what I see a couple things at this level and even a variety of levels is one, I think too often coaches come in and finish third place, and I think they feel a sense of arrival, like I'm close.
Yeah.
And so they don't hit that rock bottom point where it's like there's a desperation to improve and a desperation to get better. I was fortunate enough that I hit that point at the age of, what was I, 28, 29 at that point. I had kids, and you're sitting there like, how am I going to afford things now?
What am I going to do? Yeah. What am I going to do? What's next?
Yeah. And so I think the other thing that kind of that I benefited from, and this is Division II thing, this is also more, trying to figure it out at that level, is I was able to do everything. So, we were able to do all the scouts as a head coach. We were able to recruit all the players, and obviously had 2 assistants that helped. But you just don't have the resources. So you're involved in everything, from what kind of gear do we wear? And so what happened was I started to notice that everything mattered. Fast forward to this level. I think when you're in this level and you start at this level as an assistant, that's great because you get the lay of the land from a recruiting perspective. But you can kind of get siloed in what you're allowed to do. And so you don't develop quite like you would at a lower level, where you're able to do every single aspect of it. Now, the hard part is if you start at a lower level, you're probably not going to get to this level very often. Right. So it's like the fine line between it all. And I was very fortunate to be at that level. I was very fortunate to get my butt kicked for 2-3 years against some of the better coaches that I've faced, to be honest. Some of those Division II coaches would coach circles around some of the guys that I faced at this level, not at the Big Ten, but
you don't need to give Big Ten. Hey, you don't need to give any Big Ten coaches any fodder right now.
No, they're not worried about. They're not worried about Iowa.
Not yet. They may be.
No.
Once they see the group you put together, which is pretty good. I mean, listen, when it starts with my favorite point guard, my favorite player in America, that's pretty good. You bring in Ben, it starts with you, who knows your system. You know him. He's just, my love for watching Bennett and just being around the kid, because he's all about the right things. And the fact that he texted me, I think immediately, like I literally think it was like, you got the job. And he texted me like maybe the next day. I don't know what it was. And he's like, yeah, I'm coming. I'm following Coach. I'm following him. And I'm like, you going to make a big announcement or anything? He's like, no, just tweet it out for me. Like, I don't care. And that says a lot about him, because so many kids these days, what do they want, Ben? They want the attention. They want to make it a big thing. They want a graphic. They want an announcement. They want everybody to pay attention to them. This kid doesn't care about that. He is all about the right things. And to start your tenure at Iowa with bringing Bennett with you, how important was that?
Yeah. I mean, he's everything that we want in our program. He's got a servant heart, meaning he understands that it's not about him. He understands that it's about his impact on other people. He truly, genuinely does not want a graphic, and right. He does not want attention. Yep. That's not a fake thing. That's he'd rather just go frisbee golf than have somebody tell him how good he is. He doesn't need that. And I think that's his upbringing. He's got an unbelievable family, great parents. And so he creates this self-confidence from, things that aren't external necessarily. It's an internal self-confidence that he knows that he's good. He knows that he's a good human being. And so he doesn't need you to tell him all those things. So, fast forward to what we're doing with this team. When you get to start with exactly what you want from players and exactly what I think Iowa lends itself to is guys that, from his perspective, he was completely under recruited. He was second team all conference at Division II. We go to Drake, and all we hear from, even some Drake fans, not all Drake fans, some Drake fans, is D2 Drake. And he just plays with that chip on his shoulder, like, all right, we're going to see. And he doesn't say it.
Right.
But
no, he says nothing. He says nothing.
No, he's thinking it though.
Yes, I'm sure he is.
His competitive fire burns pretty hot. So but no, he's a special kid, special player, and I'm fortunate to be able to coach him.
If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today.
And you surrounded him. I think the key is, again, with Bennett, and you know this because you've had him before, but surrounding him with the right players around him, right? You had enough shooters with you last year at Drake. You've certainly put this team together, I think, with a similar blueprint, right? You brought a couple guys with you that certainly know you, that will be able to step in, and you know them well. What was it like when you tried to put this team together? Because it is crazy right now with the portal and NIL, right? And you don't have Kentucky NIL or Illinois NIL or Indiana NIL. How did you go about the process of putting this team together, and what was important to you?
Yeah, obviously Bennett's pretty important piece to that. Yeah, I think that from an NIL perspective, I don't know that we could have built a quality roster without, bringing the guys that we brought with us from Drake. Yeah. Because if you go through like some of the people that have signed for big money at different, and they've, trust me, they're making plenty of money, the guys that came with. So
no, but Bennett could have, I say it all the time, if Bennett had put his name in the portal, I mean, think about the money Bennett. I mean, again, some of these guys are making $3-4 million. I will say this: he's worth as much as any player in the country, and I don't want to get him a raise here from Iowa, have him go back for more money. But it's true, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, you've got Bennett, you've got Tavion Banks, and he averaged 10 and 6 in the Missouri Valley in 131 games. Cam Manyow started. Isaiah Howard. I mean, he's 6'6" wing, super physical, was unreal versus Mizzou, had some unreal games throughout the deal, even Cale Cone. Like, these guys won 31 games at a mid-major level and have been coached. And those guys are a commodity at this level. But those guys also understand kind of that relationship piece, that loyalty piece that we experience together, and we're much better, as Luke Combs song, we're better together. That's kind of us. So if you look through that roster, if you look through the roster and those guys that come with us from Drake, it's a roster that can perform in the Big Ten, and it's constructed a little bit differently. We did add some shooting, which we had shooting last year. We didn't have the shooting that I'm used to at Northwest Missouri State. At Northwest Missouri State, we had whole teams that would shoot. I think I had a team shoot 44% from three as a team and make over 11 a game. So this year's team was completely unique from what our typical teams will look like. So we added some shooting, added some space. As well as I do, anything that is 6'9" and can walk and chew gum is a commodity in this market. So we've added some good pieces there. So I think we'll be okay.
Elvaro being one of those. Like, we know Brendan can shoot the hell out of it. Everybody's seen Brendan. Didn't get quite the opportunity at Villanova, but at Kansas State, I mean, he's as good a shooter as there is in the Big Ten next year. Elvaro is a guy that people don't know much about. Came from Robert Morris, was the player of the year in the Horizon, 6'9", skilled, can step out, can shoot it. So my question to you, how hard is it to get a good grasp for like how that is going to project? Because again, it's been at the mid-major level. Now, again, you saw it from D2 to mid-major. And so you've seen that jump and how it's translated. How good a feel for him do you have right now and how you will utilize him?
I've got a pretty good feel for it. I don't think you ever totally know. Even your own guys that you've coached, you just really don't totally know how they're going to translate. We didn't know last year when we went to Drake. We weren't totally sure on some of those things. I don't think you ever for sure, have that idea. But, what I've kind of noticed in the portal, I think there's probably, just like you go to the NBA, I think there's probably a unique skill that always translates, and shooting's one of them. And the ability to pass is another, and he's got both of those. Like, he's an elite passer. He shot over 40% or at 40% from three. And then his team won. They played in the NCAA tournament, so his expectation is to be able to win. So, okay, so you've got that skill set. You don't totally know, and this is not just unique to Alvaro. It's unique to even guys that we brought with us from Drake. Okay, so if we're going to pay somebody a certain amount of money, you have to make sure that their character then checks out. Because what I've seen with a lot of rosters is maybe the guy that makes a decent amount of money is also not a great human being.
Yep.
Well, that's a problem. Because if he can't play, he's making decent money, and he's a bad human being, you're going to have some problems
in the locker room.
If he can't play, and I'm not just saying necessarily for Alvaro, I'm saying it for anybody that comes and gets paid at this level. If he can't play and he gets paid decent money, you're still going to be okay because he's a good human being.
Right.
With anybody that you bring in. And I kind of stole that from Brad Stevens. Actually, I was fortunate enough to talk to him, and he said, well, if you're going to pay a guy a lot of money, you better make sure that he's a good person, because people can deal with that, but they can't deal with it if that guy's getting paid decent money and he's not a good person. So that's how we've gone about it. I don't know if that's right. And then we've looked for hook skills, like something that translates, because you can go through this and like, he doesn't guard at this level, or maybe he's a step slow, maybe he doesn't handle it, maybe this, maybe that. And I think you can overthink those things. And it's like, okay, what value does he bring to our team? And does that translate? And then we'll look past some of the deficiencies that we think he may has, knowing that he will bring something to the table.
Yeah. What are you worried about most with this year's group? Is there anything that you're like, okay, we know we have a point guard, we know we have enough shooting. Is there any part of it other than, again, like you said, like you brought in high character guys, you still never know how they're all going to mesh together because it's a new group, but most teams are dealing with the same thing right now. Is there any part of this team after you put them together, you're like, all right, like defensively, are we going to be as good as we've been over the last however many years or whatnot?
Yeah, I think probably two things. I think one, you always want a true five, like just a five. Good luck finding one of those in the portal. I think
there aren't many, and they cost a lot of money these days.
Yeah, and half of them can't play anyway.
Correct.
That's the if I could just steal one of 3 or 4 of Purdue's bigs, that would be fantastic. But no,
he does stockpile them, doesn't he?
Doesn't he? It's not like, golly, come on,
so
coach.
many. It's crazy.
And so you always want one of those, but you don't necessarily always get one of those. And then just a really good defensive guard is probably the other thing that we'd like to have. But again, you don't know.
Beggars can't be choosers. It's year one. Year one. And if I told you would have this roster in year one at Iowa, my guess is you would have signed up in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Right.
No. That's for sure. Because I got dudes that we've won games. I think we're 3 or 4.
You have culture guys. You have culture guys, and then again, you'll see how these other guys. I think Brendan's going to be really good. I do. I mean, again, and he's just he's a tough. He's your type of kid. He is. He's your type of kid. I don't know enough about Elvaro. I've seen him play, obviously, a few times. I don't know enough about him, but if he can shoot in the high 30s from three as a 6'9" skilled dude, you'll be fine. How much you going to miss Daniel this year? Daniel and his personality.
Man, just have him walk in the gym. Just I don't know who I'm going to hammer every day. Because I just make fun of Daniel every day, and then he'd make fun of me back, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And Mitch, some of those guys are going to be tough to replace in regards to personalities and stuff like that. So
what's Daniel going to do? What's he doing? Do we know? Is he going to be like a movie producer or something?
I think he's going to come work for you.
He should.
What do you think of that?
I'm telling you, that is an open-ended invite. The problem is when you start our conversation by telling me that you really don't watch basketball, probably doesn't bode well for what we do.
Yeah. No, he truly doesn't. I don't think he's probably picked up a basketball since he's been done. I thought he's going to go play pro. He's right there. No, I'll miss him. We actually have a player that is one guy that stuck around, Cooper Koch.
Yeah.
Kind of 6'8", 6'9", can shoot it. He's I don't know if he's not Daniel goofy personality wise, but he's that kind of hybrid type.
Hey, I'm telling you, I will never meet a kid like Daniel ever again. And you'll never coach anybody. I mean, there's no way. No. And that was the beauty of your team. Like the personalities fit, right? They all they were very different in where they came from and their personalities and all that. But man, I saw it in Charleston. Like right away, I fell in love with how they played, but also like who they were. And it was a special group. And hopefully you'll be able to kind of, get that to some degree. You won't be able to duplicate it, I don't think, maybe not ever, but get it close this year at Iowa. All right, I got another thing for you. Ready? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Pretty good. I did a little research here. 12.2 minutes a game. 29 of 63 from three, 4.8 points, 11 assists, and 20 turnovers. Do you know whose numbers those were?
My guess is they're mine.
Your last year at Northwest Missouri. Yes.
Gosh, I don't pass. I'm a bucket. That's what I do. I don't pass, and when I do, I pass the other team. And you'll have to interview my.
But you shot like 46% from three.
Oh, I can shoot the heck out of it. I need to tell you need to talk to my coach and ask him why I didn't play more minutes. I still give him crap to this day.
You had 20 turnovers and 11 assists. That's why.
Oh gosh, that's probably why I didn't play more. He to this day, it's so funny. I still should have been starting. There's no doubt in my mind. But I always give him crap about that, and I'm like, Coach, you always said I was the hardest worker and stuff like that, but then you never played me. He goes, yeah. And maybe it was my fault, or maybe you just weren't good enough. So it's entertaining.
Well, listen, appreciate you taking a few minutes. Congrats on the new gig. My goal is to get out to Iowa City this year. Tell Bennett I said hello, and maybe get him to be a little bit more. I don't know. Get out there a little bit more on social media or something. I don't know. We need like
good luck.
A video, something. Let's get him out of his comfort zone a little bit here. All right.
Yeah. Good luck with that. You can be his media guy.
That ain't gonna happen.
It's not.
All right. Listen. Congrats, and